1389, no one on the suspect. 14856, clear. 14828, Roger, Unix code 4, 5500 West 83rd Street, employees in the building. AX2, AX2, see the man. That's right, we just received a call from a Cecilia who's advising that she has located the missing subject on the Ma. Caller is standing by at that location. 1350 dispatch on the route through Ma trail. That's far. Reference to Ma. Caller's advising that the victim appears to have sustained a head injury. They have been instructed not to touch anything. She's inside the tunnel as soon as you walk in. Alright, you're out.
In the tranquil settings of the popular Ma and Pa Heritage Trail in Bel Air, Maryland, 37-year-old fitness enthusiast Rachel Marin embarked on her routine walk. But as night began to fall, she remained unaccounted for, prompting her frantic boyfriend to alert the authorities about her puzzling disappearance. Tips and leads surged in from every corner, yet despite officers interviewing countless individuals, no clear suspect emerged. As the Marin case grabbed national headlines, whispers from sheriff's quarters hinted at the chilling prospect of a serial predator lurking in the shadows. While still an open and active investigation, the Marin case has already undergone a number of twists and turns. Let's dive into the case of Rachel's last walk. Rachel Marin was born on May 20th, 1986. She hailed from Dover, New Hampshire, but later settled in Bel Air, Maryland. As a dedicated single mother of 5, family always came first for Rachel. She was serious about health and fitness, regularly participating in 5K runs and enjoying weightlifting. Rachel also had a penchant for travel, having explored destinations like Miami, Aruba, Las Vegas, and New England. Those who knew her best described her as a woman of faith who was the life of the party and who had a special knack for making others laugh. Rachel held a firm belief that mere dreaming wasn't enough. One should actively chase their aspirations. Reflecting this mindset, she updated her Facebook cover photo on February 18, 2023, to an evocative graphic that read, "Risk can be dangerous, but routine can be deadly. Comfort has killed more dreams than daring ever did." Rachel's past ventures included modeling and house cleaning. By 2019, she reached a significant milestone, having saved enough capital to launch her own business named East Coast Cleaners. In an online article by the New York Post dated August 12th, one of Rachel's clients remarked, "She was very warm, and above all, she loved her children. She raised them very well. She had a flexible work schedule that allowed her to make sure her kids were always taken care of. We were like grandparents to the kids, and we trusted her implicitly." In terms of romantic involvement, the New York Post also revealed that employees at a salon Rachel frequented knew she was actively using multiple dating apps, hoping to increase her odds of finding a meaningful connection. By the end of July, she had entered into a relationship with Richard Tobin, a 27-year-old apprentice electrician in Bel Air. Both made it Facebook official on August 1st. 4 days later, after a Saturday afternoon workout together at Planet Fitness, Richard dropped Rachel off at her home around 5 p.m. She later drove 10 minutes to a Ma and Pa Heritage Trail entrance around 6 p.m. for a walk. However, by 7 p.m., Rachel's children and Richard grew concerned when she didn't respond to text messages or calls. They began to search for her, and Richard ultimately reported her missing to the Harford County Sheriff's Office at 11:23 p.m. Rachel's disappearance prompted a large-scale police search, with the public being advised to stay vigilant for any signs of her. Standing at 5 foot 2 inches and weighing 107 pounds, Rachel had been last spotted wearing a blue or black tank top, a black sports bra, black spandex shorts, and gray sneakers. An initial investigation led to the discovery of her car abandoned near a trail entrance. Shortly after 1 p.m. the following day, a search volunteer named Cecilia called 911 to report information. After her call, the police dispatcher communicated the details to local patrol units.
For the Montauk, just received a call from a Cecilia who's stating that they have located the Rachel subject on the Montauk going through one of the tunnels that runs under 23 near mile marker 2.75.
1371, can you go ahead with that message again?
That's right. We just received a call from a Cecilia who's advising that she has located the missing Rachel Morin subject on the Montauk in a tunnel that runs under 23 priority 4 near mile marker 2.75 on the Montauk. Caller is standing by at that location.
1350 dispatch on the route through Montauk Trail.
That's far. Reference to Montauk, caller's advising that the victim appears to have sustained a head injury. They have been instructed not to touch anything. She's inside the tunnel as soon as you walk in.
I want dispatch, where's that at?
7101, they're advising near mile marker 2.75 on the Montauk.
You said under 23?
That's what I have the information showing in the call.
Alright, you're out.
Is anyone out with the Cecilia caller who found the body?
3 dispatch, we were just out with her. She directed us to the tunnel where to go. We're searching the area now.
Later that evening, the Harford County Sheriff's Office held a press conference to update the community.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming up this evening. There's days I absolutely love being the Sheriff of Harford County. This is not one of those days. We're here to follow up on what I think our entire community knows, sadly, what is a homicide along the Montauk Trail here just outside the town limits here in Bel Air that happened sometime early this morning or today. But at approximately 11:23 last evening, our deputies responded to a report of a missing person. It was reported by the individual's boyfriend that Rachel Morin, who's age 37, had headed out from her home on Old Emerton Road around 6 p.m. to go to the Montauk Trail. Once she had not returned as and when expected, the family was obviously concerned. Initial information from the boyfriend, again the caller who reported her missing, indicated her car was at the lot at the trailhead here on William Street, behind like where Independent Brewery is, the people that are familiar with Bel Air. The car was there, but she was not. During the initial search, again, deputies did locate her vehicle at the William Street entrance. The vehicle, during the investigation, was towed to our CID building up in Forest Hill, where it will be processed for any and all evidence. At that time, last evening, an extensive search of the trail and surrounding area followed. A notice to the public was put out by this office, by our Office of Media Communications. That has had over 11,000 shares, and I'm going to touch on it a little here, but always thankful to our citizens here in Harford County who assist us in solving so many crimes by sharing information as good as, that's more the good side of social media. The bad side is there's also been a lot of false or early information shared that we don't want to see. We don't see false news out there. We also don't want to see information getting out before family members are informed that it could jeopardize the case. So we always, along with thanking the public, ask the public to be careful in what they share in their comments to make sure it's factual and based on information that we have put out here from the Sheriff's Office. While it was all of our hope, certainly mine and everyone standing up here with me, and the men and women of our office and all of our citizens, that Rachel will be found safe, at about 1:07 p.m., a citizen called 911 to report a female's body had been located off the trail. At that time, it was obvious that this person was deceased. The investigation went from a missing person investigation to a homicide investigation. While we firmly believe this is the body of Rachel Morin, that final determination, that final say belongs with the medical examiner, and that has not happened yet. And that's one of the things that's being shared out there on social media, that in fact it's factual, which I will admit here standing at the podium that that's the way this is going to go. But again, we have to let the process do what it's supposed to do. We understand this homicide causes a lot of concern, for us, our partners in the allied law enforcement agencies, and the safety of our citizens. The trail is one of our major Parks and Recs assets that runs through a lot of parts of the different, through Harford County. And we understand that this is going to cause a lot of concern. The trail, the crime scene down there has been processed. The trail will be reopened. It was closed during crime scene processing, but trail's always been, we've had minor incidents, but it's always known to be a pretty safe place. We're going to be very careful with what we say in the early stages of this very active criminal investigation, so there's very little I can share as far as details of what investigators have seen and learned.
Understandably, the murder deeply troubled the residents of Bel Air, a tranquil town with a population of around 10,000. Rachel's body was sent to the chief medical examiner's office in Baltimore for official identification. The sheriff's office did not wait for an official determination in order to initiate a homicide investigation. While officials chose not to disclose the specific details of her death, they labeled it as a violent homicide. On a GoFundMe page, Rachel's sister, Rebecca, claimed that the death was intentional and that Rachel didn't go willingly. Police recovered some DNA at the crime scene, but as the investigation is ongoing, they did not release details on where the DNA came from. Shortly after Rachel's body was found, Richard, her new boyfriend, became a focal point for social media users and internet sleuths. They looked up his public record, discovered he had a checkered past, and flooded his online profiles with speculative comments. It's a well-known fact, especially among true crime enthusiasts, that victims are most often harmed by those they know, which is why law enforcement first examines those in the victim's inner circle. After facing intense scrutiny online, Richard felt the need to defend his name. He posted a statement on Facebook which read, "I love Rachel. I would never do anything to her. Let the family and I grieve. Yes, I have a past, but I also have 15 months clean and have changed as a person. Please." The statement did not stop internet detectives from circulating Richard's public record online. The records revealed that Richard had been arrested 14 times since 2014 for a variety of offenses, which included 2 instances of second-degree assault, violations of restraining orders, drug possession, and property damage. His most recent misdemeanor, a second-degree assault, occurred on March 14, 2020. Yet, when it came to Rachel's case, Richard was not implicated. He had been questioned by the police and was cooperative with all requests. According to an article by the Baltimore Banner, Richard willingly handed over his cell phone and provided a DNA sample to investigators. Soon after, officials stated he was not considered a person of interest. As days passed, the authorities sifted through numerous tips, interviewed many individuals, and devoted extensive hours to analyzing clues. However, 12 days after Rachel's murder, it appeared they were at a standstill regarding a potential suspect. Then, on August 17th, the Harford County Sheriff's Office announced a press conference to share an important announcement.
As you know, since Saturday, August 5th, 12 days ago, the Harford County Sheriff's Office has been working around the clock to get justice for Rachel Morin and hopefully bring peace to her family. Since that first day, over 300 community tips have flooded our inboxes and emails. Her death has grabbed local, state, national, and international headlines. Everyone with the same goal: find the killer and bring justice to Rachel. DNA evidence is part of nearly every modern day investigation, and in Rachel's case, DNA evidence was collected by our Forensic Services Unit. That DNA was analyzed by the Maryland State Police, and it was ran through the National CODIS system. This DNA evidence has come back as a match, tied to a home invasion and an assault of a young girl in Los Angeles this past March. Unfortunately, that suspect has not been positively identified, but he did leave behind his DNA. Based on the DNA evidence, we consider the individual in the video we obtained from the Los Angeles Police Department and that we are about to show you on our TV screens to be the person that murdered Rachel Morin on August 5th. So we're now going to show the video. And just so everyone's aware, this video, after this press conference, this video will be posted on our social media. All right, you want to play it one more time? Okay. When you're ready, we're going to post it on our social media. Based on our analysis of this video and witness observations, we believe the suspect to be approximately 5'9", 160 pounds, and of Hispanic descent. If you have any information about this suspect, we are asking you to please call our detectives at our tip line. And the tip line number is 410-836-7788. And we've also established a dedicated tip email address, and that email address is rmtips@hartfordsheriff.org. Again, that's RM, as in Rachel Morin, tips @hartfordsheriff.org. We want to make it clear that we believe the suspect acted alone, and he doesn't represent the entire Hispanic community of Hartford County, who we are now partnering with to identify this suspect. I know I can speak for the sheriff when I say we are immensely proud of this community. Our community will not be defined by this tragedy. And lastly, we will continue our increased presence on the Mile Pod Trail. And now I'll open it up to questions.
Colonel, do you have any other details on what happened in Los Angeles, exactly where, or anything about what this person did there?
So when it comes to the details about Los Angeles, that's information that the Los Angeles Police Department has, and we were just going to refer people to the Los Angeles Police Department to get those details. Only thing I can tell you is an attack on a young girl.
Any word about a possible motive? Like, was Rachel missing any money or anything like that?
So we are not going to talk about the crime scene at this time, because as I've said in previous interviews, we don't want to talk about the crime scene or what happened at the crime scene, because once we catch this person, we want to make sure we got the right person, and the only people that know what happened at that crime scene when we catch the person is us and that suspect. So we're not giving any details about that.
During the press conference, sheriff's officials showed video of an unidentified shirtless male leaving a Los Angeles home where a burglary and assault occurred 4 months before Rachel's murder. The DNA evidence collected from the LA crime scene matched that obtained at the Maryland crime scene. As per the Los Angeles Times, Los Angeles Police Department Captain Kelly Muniz stated the assault was not sexually motivated. They did, however, label it as a hot burglary, a term used to describe a break-in while occupants are still in the home. Unfortunately, the LA case's unsolved status has left law enforcement without a name to attach to the DNA profile. Back in Maryland, the Hartford County Sheriff's Office said they now consider the attack on Rachel to have been random. A nationwide search for the unidentified male suspect is underway, with authorities in Maryland and California collaborating. On Thursday, August 25th, authorities in Maryland stated they were uncertain of the suspect's whereabouts, or if he was still in Maryland or even in the country. They advised the community to remain vigilant, urged residents to exercise caution on trails, and recommended against walking the trails alone. Without further evidence, investigators are essentially in a holding pattern. They would need either a sample from a known suspect or for the individual linked to Rachel's murder to be arrested for another crime, leading to his details being recorded in a national law enforcement database. In the meantime, authorities may turn to the use of familial DNA in an effort to identify the suspect. This practice is not currently legal in Maryland, but it is in California. It usually requires a family's consent, but in the event that notifying the family could compromise an investigation, some jurisdictions permit investigators to access DNA banks without a family's permission. Additionally, with a pair of unknown profiles, investigators have, in the past, obtained a court order for genetic genealogy analysis from consumer databases like Ancestry and 23andMe. On August 22, 2023, Metro Crime Stoppers of Maryland offered a $2,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of Rachel Morin's killer. According to their website, that amount represents the maximum reward offered by Crime Stoppers of Maryland. 2 days later, the Hartford County Sheriff's Office contributed $8,000 from its asset forfeiture fund, bringing the reward total to $10,000.
The name to go along with that DNA profile so we can put this guy behind bars.
Yeah, it's interesting, Sheriff, that video that you released. It's not a shot from the front, but it's still a pretty good shot from the side. You really get a pretty good look at this guy. When I first saw the video come out, I thought, man, for sure a couple days, they're going to figure out who it is. Somebody's going to call. It's kind of surprising to me that no one has called in yet, that no one's recognized him.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not the best picture. If we had a better picture or a better video, we certainly would have put that out there. We see some of the comments on the social media. That's the best we have, but it's good enough. And somebody recognizes that person by their walk, by their build, by the face that you can see, by the haircut. People are going to know who that is. People who know him know who that is, and they need to come forward and share that information. And our investigators were very hopeful that that tip would come early, but we still need to get it. He still poses a threat to wherever he's laying his head, and we need to get him off the street.
Harford County Sheriff Jeff Gaylor expressed concerns about the suspect becoming more daring the longer he remains free, stating, "This individual is a danger to every community from here to Los Angeles. We're uncertain of his whereabouts." In an interview with People magazine dated August 25th, Sheriff Gaylor said he believes the suspect might have committed violent crimes in additional states. He added that if the suspect is not caught quickly, other people could be in danger. "I have no doubt in my mind, if he's not apprehended, he will become a serial killer because he will do this again." The events surrounding Rachel Marin's brutal murder continue to cast a shadow of unease on the public, especially with the potentially dangerous suspect still on the loose. While the investigation continues, and despite law enforcement's decision not to release some key details, new information emerges daily, giving rise to a slew of burning questions. What compelled the suspect to allegedly take Rachel's life while sparing the LA assault victim? Could this contrast signal escalating aggression in the suspect's behavior? What circumstances brought him from the bustling streets of LA to the tranquil neighborhood of Bel Air, Maryland? With a proven track record of violence, his unknown location is unsettling. The fact the suspect left DNA evidence at not one but two crime scenes raises further questions. Does this showcase his brazenness, apathy towards being caught, or sheer ignorance? This developing story continues to unravel, presenting an ever-evolving enigma. Amidst this uncertainty, the nation watches closely, yearning for justice for the Marin family and peace of mind for its citizens.